we're recording.
Comrades, you are all called to order. Please stand. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready to. Comrades will be now held in prayer by our chaplain, Reverend Hoffman. I see that you're online. If you could please lead us in a prayer this morning.
Let us pray. The psalmist declared, "This is the day the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it." Almighty God, accept our thanks for giving us this beautiful day to enjoy and for all the blessings it brings. We ask that you would guide and direct our chapter, its officers, and our discussions as we meet today. Grant that each of us may feel a sense of responsibility in fulfilling the promises made to our service-connected disabled veterans and to their families. May you bless our meeting today and grant us wisdom for the decisions to be made. For to this end we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Please have a seat. I now declare this meeting open for transacting such business as we rightfully come before us. Comrade Adjutant, would you please call the roll of officers?
So I guess I won't eat my donut.
Oh, my bad.
All right. All right. It's better than it's better than hearing me go.
Yeah. Sorry, I should face myself.
Commander Shamala Capizzi.
Here.
Senior Vice Commander Anna Lutz, absent. First Junior Vice Commander Bob Whaley, absent. Second Junior Vice Commander Joe LaHaye, excused. Treasurer Kathleen Schultz, excused. Immediate Past Commander Shane Learman, present. Adjutant Shane Learman, present. Department Executive Committee Member Shamala Capizzi,
Here.
Alternate DEC Anna Lutz, absent. Officer of the Day, Jim Anders. Here. Sergeant at Arms, Gary Salpini. Here. Judge Advocate Erwin Schultz, excused. Benefits Protection Team Leader, Shane Lehrman. Here. Assistant Adjutant, Matt John.
Online.
Awesome.
So, Comrade Commander, we do not have a quorum this morning, as we do not have at least 50% or more of the elected officers of the chapter. If Bob Whaley or Anna Let's come, both of them, we would have a quorum. So since we do not have a quorum, we cannot vote on anything today. Today will be an information meeting only.
Okay. Perfect.
Oh, do you have the sign-in thing?
Gary looked around like me.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms Salpini.
Thank you, sir. Oh, you put my name on it. Thank you.
So the those that are in the room attending the meeting today are Shane Lehrman, Gary Salpini, King Marandino, Bill White, somebody that goes by Kova or C. I'm not even going to try to pronounce all of that, but hello, welcome. Jim Anders, G.A. Redding, B. Stevenson, Daniel Harrison, John Berger, Ken Kessler, and Shamala Capizzi. Did I miss anybody that's in the room? I did not. And online, I believe we only have two people joining us online this morning, and that is John Hoffman and Matt John. Is there anybody else on the line? There is not. So welcome to all the members, and that's what we've got going down this morning, Comrade Commander.
Okay, awesome. Will you please read the minutes of the last October's meeting?
The October 21st meeting was recorded. It has been posted to our YouTube channel and provided to the chapter membership on October 22nd. And again, this morning in a newsletter release. I was going to say I move we accept the recording as posted and vote on it. However, not having a quorum, we will just move right along.
Perfect. I know currently we don't have a chaplain, it's vacant. However, do we have any reports of sickness or distress from yourself or the body or from?
I have a hard time hearing you.
Oh, do you, we're just discussing sickness and distress. Oh, here we go. Come on in.
Please let the record show that Senior Vice Commander Anna Lutz is in attendance. However, we still are one shy of a quorum. So are there any reports of sickness or distress? Comrade Hoffman, do you know of any?
Good morning. I was thinking this morning, we use the term sickness and distress, and that has, to me, a negative connotation. We're looking at the worst. I kind of like health and welfare. That sounds more positive. So I don't know what it takes an act of Congress to change the wording, but I would suggest we go with health and welfare. I have been in contact with several of our members, Jim Anders, who's there, with Parkinson's, Erwin Schultz with Parkinson's, myself with Parkinson's. Each of us are at different stages and having to be able to deal with that. Frank Hall, back in 2010, had a stroke and is having to deal with that. And who else? And Diana Myers had a shoulder reversal that after having checked it now for the 1 year checkup, has been told she needs to do a revision. So she is looking for a second opinion, hoping that she doesn't have to go through that surgery again. So we have Frank Hall, Diana Myers, Jim Anders, Erwin Schultz, and myself on the roster for health and welfare. I'm not aware of any others.
Thank you for that health and welfare check, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been saying sickness and distress for over 100 years in DAV, so give us a minute if we got to get used to the change.
But I do like his spin on it. It's a more positive spin on it, right? So
Yes, it is.
yeah. All right. The treasurer report.
We don't have a treasurer's report to give today as the treasurer is absent.
Perfect. All right. Communications.
We do have a communication, but I am going to wait to explain it till we get to new business.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. We went over the chaplain report. All right. Women veterans. Awesome.
So if you'll indulge me, Comrade Commander, on November 8th, DAV as a national organization testified in support of H.R. 1753. It's called the JAX Act. It would recognize the honorable service of women veterans who served in female cultural support teams between January of 2010 and August of 2021. These female cultural support teams served with special ops units in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they were, this would consider them as engaged in combat with the enemy, given the nature of what they did and how they were living in and around combatants during that time. It would provide eligible women veterans with the uniqueness of presumption of a combat injury. In accordance with our resolution number 10, DAV supports this bill as it will ease barriers for women who served in combat and assist them in establishing claims and appeals for disabilities related thereto. For those of you who don't know, I'm DAV's Deputy Legislative Director, and I was the one who actually testified in support of that bill at a hearing on November 8th. And from what I understand, there is going to be what they refer to as a markup hearing on November 29th. That's when they mark up bills before they can go to the floor. So there's going to be a markup hearing on November 29th to consider this bill. So if they will make any changes, they'll do it then, or what they'll do is approve it out of that subcommittee. So then it has a chance of going to the floor to be voted on. So that'll be later this month. It'll be a subcommittee markup, which means then it'll have to go to the committee markup and then eventually to the floor. And the way things are.
Hopefully it looks like the risk.
Well, there's only been 15 pieces of legislation that have actually become law, or maybe 20 this whole year, which there's normally 100 by this time. So there's a few things broken up on Capitol Hill. And if you don't mind, I'll go right into the service officer's report. On Monday, this November 13th, President Biden signed the Wounded Warrior Access Act into law. What it'll do is it will require the VA to create a website for veterans to go in and request their records and access to their records. Right now, you have to go through a Freedom of Information Act request, FOIA, and it can take anywhere between 2 and 4 months to get your records sent to you because it's part of a federal process. What this bill will do is it will basically make them create a separate place for you to go in, request your records, and then you can get them digitally. Now, it's not going to be immediate access, but it's still going to be a faster process of filling out a form, sending it in. And the only way they would accept that form right now is if you fax it. You can't even mail it in or do it online. So it's just some really old processes that haven't been fixed. Yes, sir.
Did they burn it in or did they sign it in?
I'm not sure what you mean by did they burn it in. Oh, no, that says signed. S-I-G-N-E. That says signed. If it was NG, it would be singed. I got it right, didn't I? Signed, S-I-G-N, is signed, right? No, the N before the G would be singed, right?
It's spelled right.
Yeah, it's spelled wrong.
He says it's right. He says it's wrong. He says it's right. I'm going to go ahead and just say, outside of a room of proofreaders and editors that can't even agree on signed, we're going to move along. DAV is proud to see HR 1226, the Wounded Warrior Access Act, signed into law. We thank Representative Aguilar, he's out of California, for his leadership in introducing this transformative legislation, which will create significant and meaningful claims reform while preserving and enhancing a veteran's due process rights and providing them with expeditious access to their own benefits, claims, and appeals files. That is a quote from our National Service Director, and DAV has testified in support of this legislation because we have a resolution that goes along with it. And actually, I think, if I remember right, I was the one who testified on that one too. A lot of stuff going on. I can't keep it straight. And now to the legislative report. We are going to hear from our very own commander because she attended
Oh, yeah.
Senator Kane and Senator Warner's. I know it almost looks like she's standing in a hole.
I know. I'm really short. So yeah, I did attend the event on November 16th in DC in the Hart building. It was actually really small, kind of intimate, but it was really nice they also had a table. The VA was there, which I had the opportunity. They allowed me to take a whole bunch of books of theirs, and I took it. So it's free, and I wanted to bring to you guys too, because everybody needs to know about their VA benefits, right? And then it was nice to meet other local Virginia veterans. in the area. Also, we had the opportunity to take a picture with them, which was actually really quick and really short. So I think if you have the opportunity, I know it's like in the middle of the week, but if you ever have an opportunity to attend, I think everybody should attend to talk to their representative. Also, they were just they also saw, I was with DAV because obviously my sweater, but they were very thankful for our support and supporting them and stuff. So thank you for letting me, represent Chapter 10. I appreciate it. And I also told them I was the commander, so of Chapter 10.
Oh, and they were probably, oh, well, hell, we know who you are, Chapter 10, right? No,
No,
no.
not yet. But
Not yet?
maybe.
Actually, his staffer sent me tons of emails trying to get me over there. We were just way too busy.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Chapter 10's been going to this event for a very long time. I know.
I think I met you there.
Yes.
Before, yeah. Before I became.
Oh, no, that was a women veterans event
Yeah.
on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
I was there to ambush a representative who wouldn't return my phone calls and emails.
Yeah. That was true. I told you go.
And by the way, it worked. Because I knew she was going to be there and I couldn't get them to return my phone calls and emails because it was about a very important thing. So I just showed up, and then at some point she just turns around and walks by and she goes, "Oh, hi." And I'm like, "Hi, I'm Shane, Deputy Legislative Director. Do you have a minute, Representative?" "Oh, for DAV." And I'm like, well, sometimes that's how you got to do things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it is ambush. I was more stalking her. That might sound better.
I
They can
encouraged
blow
it.
you up,
Also.
and it's hard to lie to your face.
Exactly. You can avoid my phone calls and emails, but not if I'm standing in front of you.
Yeah.
Another update, legislative.
Yes, sir.
Is this, I'm not familiar with this, is this a reoccurring event? Who's it open to? How are people invited?
Any veteran in Virginia is invited,
Mm-hmm.
but they only send out invites to people they have email addresses on. And it used to be fairly recurring,
Mm-hmm.
but with the pandemic and COVID, I think this might be the first one
First one, yeah.
first
Mhm.
one they've done since the pandemic.
So how does one find out who the next?
You can either reach out to their offices and you can sign up for their newsletters, which would give them your contact information. And we didn't receive notice about this until just a few days before.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have sent something out in a release, but we didn't. I didn't get it until just probably 2 days or.
I think you
So-
got it on Monday, which was the last day to RSVP. Then I got it, and then I actually had to email them, and their office called me to RSVP because the RSVP closed out. But yeah, hopefully they'll do more. But he is right. Pre-pandemic, they had it routinely where you could engage with them.
And there would generally be in some of those events in the past, there'd be 200-300 veterans from Northern
They
Virginia
would
there.
fill the whole room up. So yeah. Okay.
Was there a lot of pre-qualification for getting visitor clearance?
No,
Get
it
in
was
there.
not. No, they just asked you for your name, your location, where you live, a phone number, and an email and stuff like that. So it was very, very, it was actually easier to get in there than any other federal building that I bet. Yeah. So it was
And I disagree because I tried to go up to the Hill on Thursday afternoon and it was not
chaos.
pleasant. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they had that protest too.
Yeah. And I was up there on Tuesday too during the protest. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
See, I got to do all the fun stuff. You guys just don't know about it. I actually got to see people tackled and zip ties put around their arms and feet during a protest about a month ago. It was quite fun. We weren't supposed to be there because the hearing we were supposed to testify at got postponed, but they didn't tell us. So we showed up, and as we're leaving, the freaking protest breaks out, and we're trying to run to get away from people. And I think we got caught on camera a few times. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
This big Marine over here running.
I don't run.
Away
It's
from-
more of a quick walk.
I was gonna say away from the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a quick shuffle.
Yeah.
So going on to a few more legislative updates with the government shutdown that was looming at the beginning of this week, the House on Tuesday passed a 2-tier bill that will extend funding until January 19th for priorities including military constructions, and Veterans Affairs, Transportation, Housing, and the Energy Department. However, the rest of the government, anything that's not covered in that first step, would be funded until February 2nd. On Wednesday, the Senate passed the bill and it was signed into law by the president yesterday. So we've averted yet another government shutdown twice in 2 months or a month. And I just want to touch on this real quick. If there is a government shutdown, veterans compensation will continue. It won't be impacted. We got advanced appropriations a few years ago to make sure that that isn't going to be a problem. VA healthcare, medical appointments, and prescriptions will continue if there's a government shutdown. The National Cemetery burials will continue. However, if there is a government shutdown, there will be potential problems with all and any VA outreach. That will basically all completely shut down, and it may also impact other programs, but anything veterans rely on as far as compensation and healthcare, they won't be touched during a government shutdown. They should continue to function as they do.
Unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
As a matter of fact, Commander, we do.
I'm really tired of looking at myself right now.
How do you think I feel? I got to put this stuff together.
I think you kind of like it. That's right.
Better you than me.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So for the homeless veteran giving tree, October 28th, after our last memorial cleaning, Shane, I, and Bob Whaley, which he's not here, went and delivered all the items due to our members' donation, which was, if Shane could go over what we donated.
For those of you who aren't familiar, what we did is we created a registry on Amazon. So we created all the items the VA Medical Center homeless stand down needed. And then we sent out the link, and our members purchased the items. We had it set up. They were shipped directly to me. And then when we got everything, we delivered it to the medical center all at one shot. So that included 1,200 toothbrushes, 700 bottles of body wash, 672 pairs of men's thermal socks, 600 bottles of shampoo, 500 bottles of lotion, 450 scarves or neck warmers, 432 pairs of women's thermal socks, 400 thermal blankets, 300 tubes of toothpaste, 300 pairs of gloves, 240 pairs of women's underwear, 216 pairs of men underwear, 200 winter caps, 40 men's winter coats, 20 women's winter coats. And the amount of this was over $6,000 of donations from our members, coupled with the $500 donation Chapter 10 made. This is nearly $7,000 we provided to the Washington, D.C. homeless veterans stand down. And we've been contributing to the D.C. Medical Center stand down for years. This is the most we've ever done. So I'm going to thank everybody who donated, everybody who went online and purchased any and everything that you did. And I want to thank the commander and Bob Whaley. We had to unbox and sort all of these things. It took us a couple hours to figure out what everything was, where it had to go. And then we had to box everything up and load it in the cars. And I'm just going to say, next time we do this, if we could have some more volunteers, that would be awesome, because Bob and Shamla said they weren't strong enough to lift and carry and move all the boxes. So the big corn-fed guy from Nebraska had to do it all. And I got to tell you what, my back's a little sore from carrying the load.
On top of them good looks, huh? Yeah.
It's almost a curse.
It is.
Yeah. So it was a great year, the best year we've ever had, and we are going to do it again next year. We did it earlier this year than we did in the past. So we even opened it up for more things. And you know what the great thing to me was, not only was this for our members, but we posted this stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn. We had people who aren't veterans, people who aren't members of DAV, log in, purchase stuff, and send it in. So that to me is the power of what we're doing. I've also been informed that there are 4 other chapters in Virginia now that are going to start doing this because they see how easy it is. One has just recently started it right after we did.
Yeah,
Three more got it in the works. And then an American Legion post reached out to me and asked how we did it because they want to start doing it next year.
Mhm.
So I don't always like it when people copy our ideas, but just think if everybody does this for the homeless veteran stand downs in the area and the amount of stuff that we can provide, it pretty amazing, really.
Yeah.
So well done, everybody.
Thank you.
Great job, Commander.
I didn't do nothing. I just delivered it.
Well, you did stuff. You told me to, pick this up, move that there, put that on the cart.
Yeah, it was like chaos.
It was chaos. And then I was getting hangry because I'm diabetic and I hadn't eaten in a few hours.
Gosh.
So I was getting a little hangry. I was, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I'm not pleasant when I'm hangry.
Like, man, it was managing chaos.
It was like I was on the verge of hulking out, is what it was. I was that angry.
Yeah. All right. So updates on our our virtual 5K. Do you have any updates on that, Shane?
I sure do. On Saturday, November 11th, we did the DAV Virtual 5K, Chapter 10. This is like our 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th year in a row of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to do it on the National Mall, and it's really not a competitive thing. We basically do a mosey or a zombie shuffle around the National Mall, and we just take pictures and visit things. We took videos of us at several of the locations. We were able to actually see the opening ceremony on Veterans Day at the World War II Memorial and at the Lincoln Memorial while we were walking around. And we put a lot of information out. We have 15 members of the team. We raised $6,240, which, by the way, is the most we've ever raised for a 5K. So thank you, everybody out there, for contributing and donating. And currently, we're in third. Nationwide, we're in third with 6,240.
I don't think we've ever have we ever gone that far?
No, I don't think we've ever.
Okay.
No. I don't
So
know
this
that
is the
we've ever
first year.
cracked the top 10.
I don't think we have. Yeah. So thank you for that too.
So the second place team is $6,500. Now, I'm not a mathematician, nor do I play one on TV, but I know that's a short distance in between
Yeah.
second and third. And here's the best news. We have until November 30th. So if you're sitting there going, I got some extra money, I'm not sure what to do with, you can donate to Chapter 10's 5K team, and maybe we can come in second place nationwide for the 5K.
All right. So our informational seminar, how's that going, Gary?
He's waiting on stuff from me.
Okay. So you're the holdup.
I'm the holdup. Gary's working on getting this location. We're going to do a large information seminar like we've done in the past. We want to do it this July, and we're just trying to nail down a date. And I got to get Gary a few more specifics for the people here.
Okay.
So that's where we're at right now.
Is that one similar to the one like you used to do downtown Arlington
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago?
Mm-hmm. Very much.
How big would they do? I mean, they had all kinds of stuff for veterans to do.
Was that us?
I don't know whether it was us or whether we participated.
Where was it
We
located at?
was it at
I was very new to DAV at that point.
Oh, okay.
was it at George Mason Law School?
Yes.
That was us.
Okay.
That was
There were
us.
people from the courts there.
Yep. We partnered with a lot of the local other nonprofit agencies that were doing stuff in order to provide a big giant day. And we want to do that again. It won't be quite on that level. This will be more focused just on veterans and their families, not all the other odds and ends that were there. Because while we put on the presentation and basically hosted it, it was George Mason Law School that gave us all of the space for free. So they opened it up to a lot of other agencies that were helping people.
All right. New business.
Oh, yes, we do. The correspondence we received about DAV's National Midwinter, I want to make sure everybody knows, originally our Midwinter Conference was scheduled for February 25th through February 28th. However, because Congress decided to change their calendar and not coordinate or tell anybody, we can no longer have our National Midwinter Conference that week. They decided to be out of session for 2 straight weeks in February, which has really made us scamper because it's a national event. It's held in Arlington, but we come up to the Hill. So it's been rescheduled to March 7th through the 10th due to the recent just announced change in Congress's calendar. It was the House. So if you want to blame anybody, blame the Speaker of the House because they're the ones that did it. That's who I blame. Makes me feel better. The conference will still take place in Crystal City Gateway Marriott in Arlington and include our national commander's testimony to a joint session of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committee on Thursday, March 7th. So the reason I always like to talk about our midwinter conference is because we have members from across the country fly in for this and go see their legislators and be a part of the commander's testimony. Well, we live right here, so it's easier for us to get to it. That's why I always like to bring it up because there's also workshops and other seminars that go on at the conference, and they do have a reception one evening as well. So there's just a lot of additional things for you to attend and see and be a part of. And it's pretty cool watching our national commander testify before Congress.
What are the dates? 7th through the,
7th through the 10th.
thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And then our opening session will take place later the day on the 7th after the commander testifies in the morning. We'll have our opening session of the Midwinter Conference that afternoon at the hotel.
Good of the order. Do we have any good of the order?
I do. I know it's odd. I always have stuff.
I have one.
It's
thing.
like I almost prepared for it.
I do have one thing.
Go ahead, Commander.
So I had the opportunity to participate with the first National VAC, which is a veteran interactive, like community-based event that the VA hosted, and I got to represent DAV as a national service officer to assist. And this was basically focused for women veterans. So I think it was successful for the last 3 days. And the thing about it was that what I liked about it is that veteran got to, on the phone, got to interact with every agency within the VA. So if you needed assistance with, an NSO, you would get either myself or VFW, right, to assist you. But you also got to talk to VBA. You got to talk to the National Cemetery to talk about your burial benefits. They even had the courts there for appeals. So they had every and VBA, if you needed assistance with a claim, they were going to submit a claim. And while I was on there was one woman veteran that had a claim submitted, and they actually moved her claim along to get it developed. It was sitting in the national work queue, and she told them that it was sitting there, and they actually moved it to a VSR to start working on. So my which I didn't even know you could do that during that event. I found out after. But one thing I do want to say is I didn't think I was going to, because I turn everything into a competition, right? So I had DAV and VFW, and I actually thought I wasn't going to beat them in the most assistance, but I did outpace them. So I'm pretty proud of myself. So that I like that. But I wanted to say, if you ever have the opportunity to participate, I think everybody should, because that just gives you an idea to, learn about all your benefits. And that time period is slotted specifically for you. And you are basically, transferred to every department, to every SME, right? At one shot, one kill. So if you have, from what I took from the out brief is that I think the VA is going to do more of that in the future. So if you ever have the opportunity to participate, I think every veteran should, because that's a one time you can actually talk to an SME within the VA agency about everything at that one shot. So it was actually good. So
You talk so much like a Marine. SMEs and one shot, one kill. So I just
yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. For those of you who don't know, SME is subject matter expert.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I ran into I had a friend for several years who worked for a government agency, but he had his own personal business cards. He didn't have a business. It just had his name, and underneath it, it said SME on everything. And right below it said, "Don't believe me? Just ask." And then had his phone number and his email address. I need to get one of those.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
That'd be
Jack
kinda
of all
cool.
trades.
Master of none.
All right. So the good of our so.
It
thank you.
almost feels like we're just carrying on conversations half the
I
time, doesn't it?
know. I like engagement, but okay.
The next commander's check-in and chat, for those of you who are not familiar with it, that'll be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We've been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic. We meet online via GoToMeeting. We talk for an hour, but we don't talk about religion, politics, chapter business. It's basically an hour-long bullshit session. I come up with a topic and we just rant and rave about silly things. Everything from what's your favorite pie for the holidays, what was your favorite candy trick-or-treating as a kid, ice cream we've talked about,
Oh,
pizza
worst job.
topping, yeah, your first car, high school mascots, all that kind of stuff. You can tell it's very much a serious conversation. But the one thing, didn't we go through the top 25 candy bars of all time? Twice, good. 2 different lists. And the last time they didn't even have Snickers in the top 10. Who doesn't think Snickers is a top 10 candy bar?
I don't. Yeah.
Hey,
That's
I'm a
very
diabetic.
true.
I am too. Chocolate.
He said,
Yeah.
yeah, diabetics.
Sugar,
That's
sugar,
true.
sugar.
Yeah. That will put you in a diabetic shock for sure.
Speaking of which, outside of donuts, we have fruit in the back of the room for our fellow diabetics. And Jim.
And yeah.
I got in trouble once. His wife came to pick him up, and I said, "Well, I think he's inside eating a donut."
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I make sure I bring a plate of fruit and say, "Oh, Jim had a lot of fruit at the meeting today. I didn't see any donuts, though."
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know if it works, Jim. I'm trying to cover for you.
Happy wife, happy life, right? Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right.
So that pretty much brings us to the conclusion of today's information only meeting, as we didn't have a quorum and weren't able to vote on anything. This meeting is being recorded. We save it as a video, put it on our website and YouTube channel. That way you can go back and look. That's why we don't read minutes anymore. Just go watch the video. It's easier for everybody. And we're going to do an after action email. So in the next day or two, I will send out an additional email with links to a lot of the stuff we talked about and additional information, just so that you get a little more detail when we're done.
All right. Before I did, do I have to stand up?
I'm not reading your script. I say sure.
Okay. Sorry. Before we wait, hold on.
There you
Sorry,
go.
There. I'm like, I'm missing something. All right. If you can't stand, before I declare, come on, relax. Like,
My knee hurts.
all right. Before I declare your adjourn, it's fitting and proper that we again render honor to our flag. Ready, hand salute. Ready, two. All right, awesome. Okay. I declared this meeting.
No, that's Comrade Hoffman.
Oh, yes, Comrade Hoffman, if you could lead us in a closing prayer, please.
May the peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep our hearts and our minds in the knowledge and the love of God. Now unto the eternal and all-wise creator of the universe, the preserver of our nation, be the honor and glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. All right. We don't have a meeting, but the next meeting will be in January 2024. So we'll see you guys in the new year.
Historically, we don't meet in December, so
Yeah.
unless anybody wants to. No, good, because we already voted not to.
Thank you guys for coming out on this winter.
Next year's meetings, the dates won't be assigned for a couple of weeks. If
counting starts on the 14th